king. The king of kings. On your knees, doggy. All hail. Bow down to the king.
Alright, cut my intro music, man. But yeah, that's right. The king is back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm back. I'm back on the gallery, baby, and I'm here to bring you what the hell? Get that all right, there we go. But yes, Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, back on Rogues Gallery Incorporated, here to bring you my favorite villains video segment. So let's jump into the damn thing. Now, if you all seen my favorite heroes video segment, then you know that this week I'm doing my favorite heroes, favorite villains from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, my favorite hero from the series, my man Zuko, the new Fire Lord now, you know. But that brings me to my favorite villains video segment because, honestly, out of all the villains that we had in Avatar: The Last Airbender, you know, whether they be a big baddie or a small baddie, you know. I mean, you have, you know, the big villains, and then you have some of the smaller, lesser villains. But honestly, my favorite, hands down, and I think technically she is the main villain in the fucking series, Princess Azula. Now, yeah, of course, we know it's like, oh, Larry, but you know, Ozai, he was the end-all, be-all, he was the Fire Lord, he was the big bad booty daddy. Yeah, but who did we see most of? And who actually gave Aang and his friends a run for their money? Who was the one who actually, you know, who was the one who was actually able to hurt Iroh? Who was the one that was actually able to turn Zuko against Iroh and the rest of the group? Who was the one who opposed him at the Boiling Rock? Who was the one who was able to take out Suki and the Kyoshi Warriors? Who was the one that took over Ba Sing Se? Azula! That's why she gets my bid for my favorite villain for Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, little brief history about Azula. Azula is the princess of the Fire Nation. She is the daughter of Fire Lord Ozai and Fire Queen Urza. And she is niece to Iroh, younger sister of Zuko. And her name, Azula, comes from her grandfather, who was Fire Lord Azulon. Now, the thing about Azula is, Azula, she is a prodigy. She's a child prodigy. She is a very deadly, very cunning, very intelligent firebender. Well, let me put it to you like this. She's a deadly firebender, but she is an even more deadlier leader. See, Azula, the thing I like about Azula, first off, I just need to throw this out there because, I mean, hell, this is just cold hard facts. I was attracted to the character of Azula because, first and foremost, because she was a female antagonist. We don't see many of those. We really don't. But the thing with Azula is that she pretty much controls, she likes to control people. She's a control freak for the most part. But she does so through fear and intimidation. And I mean, for the most part, she can actually back that up. Very seldomly in the series have we seen Azula in a position where she wasn't able to handle herself. She can take care of herself for the most part. The only times I can actually think where Azula did not have the upper hand was season 2, the episode when Aang and his group found out that Azula and Zuko were brother and sister, and it was the episode where it ended with that Wild West showdown, if you will. It's the episode where Azula and her Azula, Ty Lee, and May are chasing Aang and the group, and they've been chasing them all night. And so, you know, they had that final little showdown in like that little deserted kind of western like town, and it's Aang, Katara, Toph, Sokka, Iroh, and Zuko all against Azula. And of course, you know, she takes the bitch way out where she fires at Iroh, she distracts the rest of the group, and then she escapes. That and the season 2 finale, Crossroads of Destiny, right before Zuko came to her aid when she was fighting Aang and Katara by herself. Those are the only few times where we've actually seen Azula vulnerable. Honestly, those are. Because even in season 2, even when they found out that she wasn't a Kyoshi warrior, and the Dai Li captured her and brought her before Wong Fang, vulnerable? I think not. I think she knew the game she was playing. She knew she was running the game on them. And then of course she went batshit crazy in the series finale in Soldier's comic. But just to give you a brief just to follow up on the brief history of the character, pretty much Azula, like I said, childhood prodigy, and she was the favorite child of her father, Fire Lord Ozai. Now her mother Urza favored Zuko because Zuko as a child was much he was a much more gentle soul, and Zuko from Jump Street was legitimately a good guy. You know, the whole thing with his banishment and all that shit, that's what turned him into a villain. But Zuko never, at heart, he was never really a villain. He was always the softer one of the two children. Azula was the one from Jump Street. Something was fucking wrong with that child, okay? Her mother said it, you know, her mother thought she was a fucking monster. Something wrong with that. So Azula pretty much grew up with this mentality that she was the legitimate heir to Ozai's throne. She never considered Zuko a legitimate heir. She always saw her older brother as being soft, as being a weakling, and she always saw herself better than him. And honestly, she is the better firebender. Between the two, she is smarter than Zuko, and she is a better firebender. Also, she's a better leader. She can rally people behind her very easily. She's very manipulative. Zuko doesn't have any of those fucking qualities. So when you pit those two together, Azula, nine times out of 10, will have the upper hand. It's just the way it works. But why did I really like Azula? Because Azula, it's like I mentioned earlier, Azula was able to oppose Aang and the group. I mean, eventually she enlisted, you know, the help of Ty Lee and May, but for the most part, she was able to oppose them on her own. And you gotta admire that. I mean, and keep in mind, I mean, what Azula's, let's see, if Zuko was 15 at the beginning, Azula was what, 13? No, she was probably like 14. She was probably closer to 14. Because I know at the beginning of, in season 1, at the very beginning, Zuko's 15 going on 16, Aang's 12, and Azula is like 1 or 2 years, I think she's a year younger than Zuko. So Azula was like 14 going on 15. And for her to be able to do what she did in the course of that series was fucking phenomenal. I mean, like, you know, all the shit I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, you know? I mean, shit, her, Ty Lee and May brought down Ba Sing Se. They infiltrated the Earth Kingdom stronghold and brought it down. They brought down Omashu. Jesus, I mean, Azula is a very fucking kick-ass fucking antagonist. She really is. Oh, and I'm sorry. And also, I gotta mention this. She's the only firebender that has blue fire. There's something to be said about that. And the blue fire is supposed to represent, according to the creators, the blue fire is supposed to represent Azula's intensity and her proficiency as a firebender. Because those of you who know anything about, you know, how fire works with temperature and, you know, gases, how they affect fire, blue fire, if you've ever seen a stove that has blue fire, that's because that fire is burning at a higher temperature. So so that's supposed to translate over to Azula's character. The reason why she has blue fire is because she is supposed to be a much more powerful firebender. And also her, Iroh, and Ozai are the only firebenders that can shoot lightning. So she is the youngest firebender that can shoot lightning. That's also because, you know, they call lightning the cold fire because it's cold, deadly, accurate, and precise. That in itself describes Azula's personality to a T. And then, of course, I just loved in the finale when Azula went apeshit crazy. I thought, you know, I heard a friend of mine. She described that as them bringing down Azula's character because Azula was always, you know, the strong female character type, but in the finale they gave her a, you know, vulnerability, and they made her, you know, this conflicted female character where she had some serious mommy issues, and it kind of tore away her whole character. No, that excuse me, it's the complete opposite. That brought so much depth to Azula's character. You know, it's one thing to say that you have this hardened female character where she's just this battle-hardened character. To use an example, for any of you who've ever seen Claymore, the character of is it Captain, what is it, Odine or Ordine, I think that's her name. She's, you know, the big muscle-bound Claymore, and we found out that all that shit was a facade. All of that was a false, you know, bravado, however the fuck you pronounce it, but false bravado. All of that shit was just a facade to make her to shield her from to shield herself and to shield the world from her inner insecurities. You see what I'm saying? That gives depth to a character. That doesn't mean that the character is weak. No, that gives depth to a character. The same thing happened with Azula. If Azula just went around as this badass, you know, chick who, you know, kicked ass and took names, yeah, cool, that's all fine and dandy. But having Azula be conflicted with this idea that she was never accepted by her mother, you know what I'm saying? And keep in mind, as children, our parents are the models for who we want to be as adults. Girls look up to their mothers. Sons look up, daughters look up to their mothers, sons look up to their fathers. So as a young child, if your parent of the same sex does not accept you, that fucks with you as a kid. Same thing happened to Zuko. Zuko never had Ozai's affection. He never had his acceptance. That fucked with him. Same thing happened with Azula and Urza. Urza thought she was a fucking monster. And, you know, as a princess, you're not supposed to be like that. That fucked with Azula. That's why Azula didn't take the route of being the Fire Nation princess. No, if her mother was going to treat her the way she did, ostracize her and outcast her the way she did, and if she could only have her father's acceptance and she saw the weakness in her brother, I'm pretty sure that Azula got it in her mind as a young child. It's like, all right, if I can't be the princess, then I'm going to be the great Fire Nation heir. I am going to outdo Zuko. Zuko is supposed to be the boy. He's supposed to be the great firebender. He's supposed to one day become a general. He's, you know, just like Iroh. Iroh was the prince and general of the Fire Nation. You know, Zuko was supposed to fall within the same lines, and Azula got it in her head. It's like, no, fuck that. I'm going to outdo Zuko in everything. That gives depth to her character. That shows that she actually has a fucking personality. So yeah, so with all that said, honestly, I just loved Azula as a character. I could relate to her. I made the comparison in my favorite heroes villain favorite heroes video. I made the comparison to myself and Zuko. But to use another real world example, I can make a comparison to my little sister and Azula, because they are a lot alike in some aspects. And it's kind of funny because for all of my, you know, my Louisiana repeat viewers and subscribers and whatnot, all of you all who watch my videos here on Rogues Gallery. You know, we have MechaCon, which is the big anime convention out here in Louisiana. And last year, me and my little sister were actually planning on attending as Zuko, you know, actually cosplaying as Zuko and Azula, which we might still do that. I don't know. I'd have to see. I'd have to see, but I would still be down for doing that. But anyway, but with that said, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna wrap this video up. I want to thank you all for joining me right here on Rogues Gallery Incorporated. And with that said, hey guys, comment, rate, subscribe. You know, we got to get this channel up there, man. We got to start getting those views. We got to go start getting those subscribers. We got to start, you know, we got to start getting the word out about these videos, because, you know, me and my fellow Rogues Gallery members, Strapped Up 24, You Go Strange, J Mason 105, Uncle Man, we be on our shit. And from now on this channel, you guys are going to start getting some grade A fucking content. I mean, we've pretty much been incognito. You know, we've been MIA, missing in action. We've been AWOL on this channel for a while, but we're about to come back. We're about to bring the thunder. So with that said, as always, comment, rate, subscribe, guys. And also don't forget to follow me on my YouTube, on my personal YouTube channel, youtube.com/otakuassemble. But with that said, this is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. This is the game, the King of Kings. I'm signing off. And until next week. Oh, also, guys, don't forget, in the comments below, vote. Let me know what series you want to see my favorite hero, favorite villains for next. And vote. Thumb them up. Thumb them up. So with that said, this is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, coming to you courtesy of Rogues Gallery Incorporated. Signing off, and I'll catch you cats later. Peace.